afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Topic Time with Harrison Young. We are now more than midway through the month of September, and I have an awesome show tonight. I'm going to my sacred birth state of North Carolina, which I've done several times already for a Zoom show with an amazing comedian. But before we get to her, I got to read these incredible underwriters. Don't have a lot, but they're awesome, so we read them off. So we have JN Kitchen Design in Marshfield. Great to have them back. We have Madigan Land Surveying in Middleborough. We have South Shore Sheds in Plimpton, right up the street here on Route 58. We have Rock Solid Tops in Pembroke. Great to have them back. We have Salon Giovanni in Marshfield. We have New England Floorscapes in Middleborough. We have the Auto Shop with Master Mechanic Ed Rooney in Hanover. And we have DNS Auto Works and Collision Specialists right up also up the road on Route 58 in Abington. And I want to thank you guys very much. And now, Lane Wilson, thank you for doing my show today. You're in North Carolina, right?
I'm in South Carolina.
South. Okay, I thought it was north. Okay, well then okay.
And
all right, my bad. No problem.
That's all okay. Right. It's more of an insult to North Carolina than it is to South Carolina. So
why? Because I was nearly 65 years ago. All right, no, that's okay. It wasn't an insult. It was just oversight on my part, I guess. All right, so you're in South Carolina. Are you in Charleston?
No, I'm in the upstate. I'm in Clemson, South Carolina.
Okay, Clemson, where the school was. They won a couple of national football championships.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
And I know the father of one. Well, I don't know the daughter. A guy I know, his daughter it was a student there during those years too. I think. I never met her, but I grew up with the guy. So I mean, it's just a small world after all, as they say.
It has a soft spot in your heart.
Oh, definitely. All right. Well, we're going to profile you today, and we talked a little about the possibility of maybe you're a stand-up comedian.
Yes.
I don't know what your material is like. It would be interesting. We'll at least talk about it, and then if you want to do a little bit, that's up to you. It's not essential, but you figure it out. If you feel that if you get the knack to do it, a hankering, then go for it. If not, then we'll just do an interview. Either way, it'll be entertaining because it always is. So what I like to do, every person I interview, I like to find out what you were like as a kid. What you were like as a child, where you grew up, and judging by the dialect, I'd say you've been there your whole life. You're pretty close. You tell me. So
no, I have not. I was raised in Texas.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, South. You're in that part of the country.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, but there's a difference. Here in South Carolina, they're Southern Bells, but in Texas, I was a Taco Bell.
Oh, okay. I understand. Now you're getting me a hankering for Taco Bell. I used to eat the burritos every day. Okay. All right, that's cool. Was that a little bit of material you just did?
That's a little bit of material right there. Yeah.
Okay. So you already got one joke under your belt. Good job. Okay. All right. So, well, tell me about, all right, what did you do as a child in Texas? And it's a big state. I've flown over it. And it was so large that when I went to visit my brother in San Diego back in 1997, we were flying over it. And I said to the stewardess, "We over Arizona yet?" And she said, "No, still Texas." And, I go, "Okay, well, what part of Texas were you at?" And then what did you aspire to as a child in Texas? What did you do?
Well, I'm originally from San Diego.
Okay.
But I moved to Texas when I was 7. So I'm basically from Texas. And then we moved to South Carolina 18 years ago and lived in Austin most of those years. And, Austin is one of the hippest, coolest cities in the country. Don't you agree? Yeah. Well, I wasn't.
We stopped in Dallas when I was there.
Yeah.
For a bathroom break, basically. That was fun. But as far as I've heard of it. I've heard of that. Well, tell me, how was it hip? How did that affect you?
It had this great music scene starting in the early or late 70s and the 80s. There was just so much going on. But I wasn't hip. I can't even say I wasn't hip anymore. I wasn't hip. So they asked me to leave. And that's why we came to South Carolina.
Okay.
But it was okay. They found a Californian to buy my house, paid 3 times the asking price.
Okay, so basically, all right, let me see if I can piece this together, because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So you were born in San Diego, but then at 7 you moved to Austin, but they didn't think you were hip enough, so you went to South Carolina, and then, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So basically in South Carolina, they don't want you to be as hip. That's what I'm guessing, right? It's a little, because if you're too hip in South Carolina, then you're almost like you're violating the Bible Belt policy, right?
And I don't want to insult South Carolina because I really love it here, but it's working on its hip factor. I mean, Austin is just far and away one of the hippest cities. It's hard to aspire to it, but Greenville, South Carolina is working hard on it, and that's where I do a lot of the comedy. It's in Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay. And how many years have you been there for now?
I've been in South Carolina for 18 years.
Oh, that's right, 18 years. Okay. All right. Well, now do you tell, is a lot of your material based on what Austin's like and why they threw you out of there, or is there other stuff?
Little bit. I didn't do my first stand-up until I was 60 years old, 60 years old
yeah,
here.
I know the number.
Yeah. So, yeah. And it's the humor has sort of evolved over that time, and it does address Austin a little bit, maybe working. I did all of my 30 years of working was in Austin, various jobs, mostly clerical. Some, I sold cars for a while.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes I would work 2 or 3 jobs at the same time because I just really needed money for cocaine.
Oh, good for you. Okay. But the cocaine wasn't.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, I know.
That's not true. Because I never had to pay for it.
All right. Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah. So you're working it in. I love that. Okay. All right. So, and then I guess when you left Austin, they said, okay, now we're going to have to find someone. Now we're going to have to find someone else to give it to. Otherwise, we're going to have to hide it from the cops, right?
Oh, there was plenty of people to give it to. Trust me.
Oh, I'm sure of that. Okay. All right. Now, do you have a family? Do you have a husband, kids, anything, or?
Yep, I have a husband and a 28-year-old son who is living in North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, got started late in the game. I was almost 40 when I had our son. So, yeah, but that's everything's fine and dandy on that side of it. So there's no humor there because things are too good. A lot of times humor can be found in the unhappy things or some of the failures in your life.
Well, why can't you make humor out of good stuff too? Because I mean, you know what you could do, and this is just an idea for me. Some people envy people that have it so good. So rub it in their face, and maybe and then say, that's what I would do. I don't know, just that's. And then that'll make them say, okay, well, at least I'll get them, at least nothing else will get them to pay attention to you. Sometimes when you're addressing a group, like when you do stand up, it's not always so much important to get them to laugh as it is to captivate their attention. And even if you make them cry a little bit, sometimes they're going to be so overwhelmed that they're not going to want to leave right away. And they may
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
That's all.
Well.
Okay.
Also, being a certain age too, and I don't know what your history is, but I'm at an age where we're taking care of our kids and our parents,
right? And
all the parents have deceased, but dealing with certain aspects of that, going through assisted living, and found a lot of humor in that. Now, a lot of people may not find humor in it. But you can't be around in a room full of 85-year-old women and not hear something funny.
Of course. Well, it's interesting. I sort of defy that rule because I still have my parents, and they're older. They're both over 85. Number one. Number two, I don't have any kids, so I don't have to take care of any kids, which is great. So in a way, I can rub that in the faces of people that do. That would be kind of funny too.
It would.
Because everybody has his or her own, routine, and they get into it for whatever reason. And I think of myself, I'm very lucky in the fact that my parents, who I pretty much embarrassed, into wanting to, crawl into a shell for most of my, childhood and adult life, the fact that at this point they see what I've accomplished is pretty impressive. And even if they don't care about it, which I think they can't really help but be impressed with it because, just found out we're halfway through the show. They seem to be impressed with it because they really have no choice. Because if they're not impressed with it, then they're falling behind the Joneses basically.
Yeah.
Everybody else. So that means a lot to me. I want to impress my parents more than anybody, even the most beautiful woman on earth. Which doesn't mean that wouldn't be great too. I'm not,
Are they still? I mean, are Are they still
very,
sharp?
they have. My mother just turned 88 the other day. We had a party. We had a dinner.
Oh, that's right. I saw that. Yeah.
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 Yeah, they both look good. They don't move as fast as they used to. But you know, they're still coherent. They still live. They're not in assisted living. My mother had a hip replacement last year. She was thinking about doing assisted living, but I'm hoping they don't, because I live right around the corner from them, and I'm always there if they need me. But I don't know what's going to happen with that. But right now, they're doing better now than they were back, just even several months ago. And I see in my
wonderful.
I've defied death myself a bunch of times, and so I mean, I look at life as, you got to keep swing with the punches and all that. And I think, and then what happens is, when you've done that, it's almost like it never happened. And then you look back and you say, did that really happen? I don't know if you've experienced stuff like that too, but this is my history.
Yeah, bad choices. I should not be here. Let's circle back around to bad choices in Austin, Texas, with certain chemicals and maybe the wrong kind of crowd. So yeah, it's amazing that I'm here and in a healthy, happy. We travel a lot.
Yeah.
I just got back from an extended trip because of my husband's job. Got back from Europe and the UK.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, an extended trip there.
England, Scotland, Ireland, all those countries.
Well, it was all work related, and on our way over, I was in first class.
Of course.
Yeah, for about a minute.
You're all going to die anyway. That was from Seinfeld, by the way.
Yeah. No, well, I was only in there for a minute. I was on my way to my seat in 38E, but I was there in first class.
And let me guess, they threw you out because you were not hip enough, right?
Not hip enough. Out. Yeah, it was too many people from Austin and California were in the first class, so I had to leave. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, but he was there for work, and so I just refer to myself as a blessed, spoiled little brat.
As it should be. I know we should all be spoiled and blessed, because unfortunately not everyone is. Okay. And as far as you're not being hip enough, well, I'm sure the people of Austin, I think they probably want you back now, because you've shown them, as they say.
That's right. That's right. I got up on stage and I was brave enough to do it. And when I was 25 years old, and there were some clubs there, open mics and such.
Wait a minute, I thought you said you didn't start till you were 60 though.
I didn't. When I thought about it in Austin, when I went to, when I say open mics, I went as an audience to open mics, and I thought, I can do this. I can do this. But you have to come up with 5 minutes, which doesn't seem like that much. But when you're not funny, then 5 minutes is hard. So I put those dreams aside. And then when I moved here and my son graduated from high school and he was set, and my husband was in, set. And I just thought, well, I think I'm going to do something for me now. I was Paul's wife. I was Anthony's mom. And now, I was thinking about my obituary.
Okay.
I was thinking, what's it going to read? Yeah. What's it going to read? And I thought, I want it to be interesting. I want people. Yeah. I want people to stop and read it when they see it. So I thought, well, I tried that, and I'm going to try it again. And first night at an open mic in Greenville, Comedy Zone, Greenville, shout out to them. Okay. I had my first open mic there, and the worst thing happened, Harrison, the worst thing.
Okay, what?
They laughed.
All right.
They laughed.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was hooked.
There you go.
I was hooked from that.
That was not too long ago, I guess.
Yeah, that was 5.5 years ago.
Oh, you're 5.5.
That I did my first.
Okay, so you and I are probably.
I'm 66.
Oh, okay, you're a year older than me.
I'm 66.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
65, 2 weeks from tomorrow.
Oh, good. Look, good for you. Yeah. Happy birthday early.
Thank you. I thought you were younger.
It just gets.
Yeah.
You thought? Really?
Yeah, I did. I thought you were younger.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Well, see,
keep talking. Just keep talking.
Well, there you go. So here's what you did. You got up on stage and you basically told the truth. You did what I suggested. You rubbed it in their faces. You said, "I'm very happy, and my kid, I have no problems. My husband's faithful to me. My son isn't a drug addict." The next thing you know, they're cracking up, probably out of jealousy.
Yeah. Yeah, my son's not a drug addict, but his mother used to be. So yeah, that
I
is
did
one
too.
of my jokes that I yeah, that's one of the jokes that I tell is that my son for many years didn't come to any of my shows. And I invited him and I said, "Oh, come on, let's, it'll be fun. But just know, son, that sometimes your mom tells jokes about her drug-fueled, slutty past."
Okay.
And
I like it.
yeah, and he said, "Well, that's great as long as I can get up on stage and talk about my drug-fueled, slutty present." So yeah.
Well, I always say, I mean, if I were to do stand up, I have one line that comes from a real life experience. And years ago, my parents were always trying, get me and they were doing it to these little mind bending seminars that try to get people to see their life in a better way. You may have heard of EST. You may have heard of actualization.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. So we did all those seminars back in the 70s and 80s. So I met a girl in 1980 at a seminar in Boston, and she was about your age. She was born in 1958. She's a little older than me, and she was a lesbian, and she was very, and she had a girlfriend. So what she actually said to me, you're a challenge for me. Why don't you have dinner at my house? So in her apartment. So in the working class city in the Boston working class city of Allston, Massachusetts, on the night of May 9th of 1980. It was a Friday night. I have a photographic memory for dates that I can remember because I have autism. We went and, she made me dinner. I'm a vegetarian now. 2 years later, I'd become a vegetarian. But that night she made me chicken. And, and I always tell people, but after that, I never saw her again. So my joke is I say, well, I had a date with a lesbian once because she couldn't tell the difference.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I know.
So find one good joke and build on that. You'll make it on stage.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, and to everyone's life, there's always material that can be netted if one isn't willing to collect all the stuff and use it for material. And of course, I mean, you practice before a mirror? Do you have a practice audience that you try it out on first, or is everything just open mic now?
No, I've been booked now, which for about a couple of years, which that's a good thing. That's kind of what you strive for. And I will, write down some jokes, write new jokes. Most of my inspiration comes in the shower if that's worth anything. And when it comes time to work on a show, I'll piece together jokes that I hope will flow well. And then I just, then I get my water bottle and I practice as a microphone. And
you can drink the water when you're done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because I need it because I'm very parched at that point. So it's just me alone in the house, Paul's at work, and I practice my sets, and I keep a Word document of my jokes. So, and I kind of know how the timing of each of them. So that's how I practice. Right there,
you could say, well, I practice. I practice in the shower, and if you want, I'll practice the same way here. Exactly the way I practice in the shower.
No, right. They'll be screaming.
Well, I'm just saying, sometimes you. A lot of times, I've noticed in stand-up comedy is that using a lure is definitely a way to keep people's attention, especially if you're a woman, obviously.
Oh, there are very few women, and that's true. That is true. Yeah. But I don't know. There's just something creepy about a 65-year-old woman using her allure to keep these 30-somethings interested. So I go more for
Ruth for 96 years. Why couldn't it still work for you?
Who did?
You worked for Dr. Ruth. She just passed away. Dr. Ruth.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Okay. Oh, now, did she have allure or did she have knowledge? I'm not sure that.
But she was very, very, frank and open about sexual issues.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if you didn't find her attractive, you couldn't help but listen to what she had to say. And that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't thought about that.
The idea is to captivate the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of that, we're down to the final 5 minutes of the show. I hope you had fun talking to me.
Yeah. Oh, God, we're having a great time. Yeah.
That's great. Now, tell me where have you just performed in Greenville? Have you ever gone to Vegas to perform there? I'm thinking now.
Oh no, I'm very, very small.
It was like keep it in okay, you like to keep it in, near the farm. I get it. All right.
Small market, yeah. Greenville. I've, there's lots of little places around here that have. It's a nice comedy scene going on,
there is.
and
okay.
which is a good thing. There's a lot of really talented, funny people. I'm typically an opener, so
Yep.
it'll be a host, an opener. I get the crowd warmed up, and then we've got the main feature. So I'm usually on for about 15, 20 minutes.
Wow.
And yeah.
That's not. I can't. That's a challenge. I know. I can imagine it must be. Well, what I'm getting at is if you had a good time with me, and any other comedians or anybody that you think might be an interesting guest for my show, you got my number. Have them text me, and we'll get them on either in person or by Zoom. Obviously,
Absolutely.
I prefer the in-person interview, but we can definitely get them on by Zoom. Now, do you have anything coming up on the horizon, specifically that you want to mention so that I make sure we cover everything? Like any particular gigs that you get, in the next couple of weeks that you want to, give a personal reference to?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. I've got October 4th
Okay.
in Seneca, South Carolina. There's a
Yep.
place called Oconee Community Theater, and they have
Okay.
a really nice comedy club there. So that's going to be October 4th. I hope to be filming a movie
Wow.
before too long, something local going on here. It's not a low budget, it's a no budget.
I know, an independent film, but it's something.
I auditioned, and now we wait to see where we go. I got the part,
Great.
and
Congratulations.
it's kind of a fun, beefy. It's an older woman, but she and her husband are involved with drug dealers.
Good.
So
I'll watch it.
yeah, I'm
Definitely.
gonna have some
Okay.
fun with that. So yeah, and I'm hoping to do there's maybe a couple more as the comedy shows happen. Usually 2 or 3 weeks they come to me then, and then we'll
Perfect.
start. So October 4th, that's comedy, and then a mystery thriller movie coming out of here before too long.
Okay. Now, if it's a short film, it shouldn't take too long to make, and it'll be great on your resume. All right. Well,
Absolutely.
you want to give a few shouts out to people that are going to see the show, and then we'll wrap it up with my snap and the way we began it.
Okay.
Start with your husband and son if you want.
A shout out. Oh, a shout out. No, I need to.
Yeah.
Well, of course, my husband, but I need to shout out to Kenneth Hughes and to Tom Emmons. These are 2 comics who had faith in me and have been my mentors and are my biggest supporters. So I got to give a shout out to them. Jazz Gill, the amazing Jazz. Maybe she can get on your show. She's a young woman, 34 years old,
Perfect.
that I think would be a great asset to your show. She's very funny. She's going to go
Awesome.
places. Whereas
Tell her. No, tell
I'm
her.
happy. Huh?
You can tell those people. You don't even have to tell me. Just tell them, and you got my number, and have them contact me. That's all that matters.
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
Be prepared for the South Carolina Mafia to be getting in touch with you soon.
Excellent. I love mafia. I love mafia people. They're my favorite.
Yeah.
And all against the family. All right. So you ready to wrap the show up the way we began with my snapping? And you were pretty good.
Can I dance with you?
Yeah, exactly. You sure can. All right, folks. We're wrapping up.
I don't want to.
Here we go. Signing
I don't
off.
want to steal the show. I don't want to steal anything from you.
You're not stealing anything. You should do it.